Welcome to the Rubio Method. Venture into the unfiltered world of Chris Rubio. The Rubio Method delivers an unapologetically edgy take on the often overlooked world of men's mental health. Rubio, a master communicator, wields a potent knack for no BS enlightenment. Step into this no-nonsense arena, where men are challenged to evolve and confront the man staring back at them from the mirror.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Todd at Artbeat. Thanks again for doing all my shirts. You do a great job. Make sure you guys check out Todd at Artbeat Inc. on Facebook. He's one of the main sponsors of the Rubio Method, along with One Shot Charlie's out in Harrison, Idaho. They both do a fantastic job. Welcome to episode 90 of the Rubio Method. This is going to be a great one. We're going to be all over the place. I'm talking all over the place. Before we even start, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all that on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X. Tomorrow it'll be on Spotify and iTunes and all that good stuff, and even Rumble as well. Jenna, I know, is working diligently to make that happen. The two guests we have today are going to be outstanding. They'll be electric, as they say. You've seen them both on here before. Rowan, you've only heard me talk about how he's not even a real human. And Chalice, well, he might not be a real human either. Also, I wanted to make sure you guys know to keep track that Decades will be on at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. So right after the show, go take a piss, do what you got to do, get ready, get a drink ready, and then we're going to have Decades. And then at 9 o'clock, you've got AC with AC Sports Live, and then The Ride with Chevy and Nasty at 9:30. There you go, AC right there, Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Or no, 9 p.m. Pacific, okay? And then Randy and Chevy are actually at 9:30 p.m. now. They switched their times. All right, so what do we got in store today? All right, so for Everything Happens for a Reason, we're going to make fun of a singer slash actress slash model. Jenna was just telling me who she is. I don't even know what it is, but she really embarrassed herself about the whole deportation thing, because El Trumpo is deporting anyone that's an illegal alien very quickly. And it's kind of wild how we just happen to know where everyone is. But for 4 years, Joey B just said, oh, what the hell? We'll just let them go, do what you got to do. And then we're going to talk about El Trumpo playing golf on Sunday and then getting into an argument with an entire country and winning. Okay. There are winners and losers live. That's why I'm going to bring on Chalice Jr. And we are going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. Does anyone care about this besides AC? Because I know he's a big Eagles fan, and I think Jimmy Mack is as well. But I like their long snapper, but I also know someone on the Chiefs, so it's hard for me. Then we're going to move to Accept and Embrace. Hello, Nana Mona. Idaho is considering firing squad as its primary form of execution. And also, Idaho lawmakers are going to ban mask mandates. Plus, we got to talk about a Lyft driver banning someone from getting in their car. And we'll see. I'm all for this one. I'm all for the Lyft driver banning this person, and you'll understand why, even though it is a quote-unquote famous rapper, so to speak. And then we're going to go to Working Hard Is Not Enough. I'm scanning through some TV shows, what I'm going to watch, and I have found a gem that I'm pretty sure everyone, if you are, let's say, over 30 years old, has watched, okay? Allowed to pull the trigger. Yeah. Oh, no, TC, allowed to pull the trigger. There's going to be a line a mile long of Idahoans wanting in on this. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about a show that I think was late 70s, early 80s. Jenny, you might want to fact check this on me, but it's absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to tell you why it's so fantastic. And then we're going to end the show. Confidence is the key. I was having a conversation with Rowan, and he starts the conversation with, I said, how you feeling? He goes, great. Now that the eye is out. And I said, wow, I never thought I'd have that in my wheelhouse to talk about. But hey, want to come on the show? Let's talk about your updates and how everything's going. He says, absolutely, Rubio. So we're going to end the show with Rowan McCullough. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. This dude is not even a human being. I'm convinced of it. All of that and much more on to episode 90 of the Rubio Method. Jenna, let's get moving right along here. Everything happens for a reason. Okay, so El Trumpo has been in office 8 days. He's gone crazy with executive orders, and he's pretty much doing every single thing that he said he was going to do. And you got so many people on the right saying, this is fantastic. And everyone on the left is saying, you get what you voted for. And everyone on the right is like, yeah, man, we know. We love it. This is great. And one of the first things he's saying, hey, there's about 10 to 14 million illegal immigrants in here. Not asylum seekers. We're going to start kicking them all out. And everyone's losing their mind over this. Like, oh, well, what law did they break? They just had the first, I think Carolyn Leavitt is the new press secretary. And they said, well, they're not breaking any laws. And she immediately stops them right off the bat and says, They broke a law by getting here illegally. That's the number one law they broke. Then if we find out they've done any other laws, boom, they're gone again. And so he's already, I think today I just saw a stat where the encounters at the border are under 150 per day. This is insane that all of a sudden we could switch it just like that. And so you've got this celebrity, Selena Gomez. She posted this video. Jenna, play the whole video because this is fantastic. Go ahead, Jenna.
Just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. They don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
Okay, number one, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish there was something you could do. I could do. Jenna just wrote so stupid. Okay, number one, there's something she could do. I wonder what her house looks like. She probably has like a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom, maybe a 3-bedroom apartment, like Three's Company or something like that. Jenna, do you have a picture of one of her homes? Just pull one picture, Jenna. Just one picture of Selena. That seems to be quite the size. We're looking at probably 10,000 square feet. You could throw up some tents in the front yard if you wanted to. I'm sure it's behind a gate. Jenna, do you have another picture of another house? Or maybe the back? Oh yeah, there seems good pool for bathing. You got little backyard patio sets, little balcony. That looks like room for, whoa, Jesus. Okay, yeah, now this looks like a damn resort. There's a lot of room. I'm thinking that's a different house. You got one more, Jenna? Oh yeah. So there's a little courtyard here, a little wishing well. They could wish or scrub up, do what you got to do. So what could you do, Selena? Well, you could open your doors, but no one's stopping you to do that. So she was crying because Biebs kicked her to the front. Yeah. Found out Jenna just told me she's dating Justin Bieber. I didn't know that. So that's new to me, but TC knew that as well. Okay. And so she could do that easily, very easily. And she is so just, number one, let's number 5 at this point. She set up a camera. It just film herself crying. And it's not even like a cute cry. You know, sometimes you can have like a cute cry where people feel sad for you. This is like an ugly cry. And you all know the difference between a cute cry and an ugly cry. She just embarrassed herself. And within like 10 minutes, so many people got online and said, what are you talking about? We're all for it. Get him out. That she deleted the video. She 100% deleted the video. Of course, internet's forever. Jenna says, I don't know how people can cry on camera. Can you? I'm sure I could. I'd have to think of something sad, like puppies dying, or like family members being, hurt or something. She's literally the unluckiest Selena in showbiz. Well, I'm thinking the other one. What was the other one's last name? Did the other one have a last name? Or was it just Selena like Cher or Madonna? But just so dumb. And here's the thing. It's all over the illegal aliens getting deported. And everyone else is, like I said, saying, hey, this is okay. And so what are we talking about? How are illegals really getting deported? Oh, yeah. And so here's what happened on Sunday. If you're not heavy into social media, you probably didn't see this. And CNN had it on the one part where they talked about at the beginning, because El Trumpo sends 2 planes of Colombians that are in the country illegally, in America illegally, sends them 2 airplanes full, government airplanes. So they're not in first class Delta or anything. They're probably just thrown in the back, give them a lawn chair, do what you got to do. And gets to the Colombian airport, and the president says, no, we're not taking them. And mind you, this entire time, okay, CNN posts that one thing, nothing for another 8 hours. This whole saga was solved within 1 hour, because I'm watching it on social media like, okay, this is going to get good here. So I'm watching it on X, which you can follow the Rubio method at the Rubio method on X if you'd like. And Trump says, okay, you're not taking these people back to your country. If you don't do that, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on all products coming in. As soon as this goes out, everyone on the left starts losing their mind, say, oh my God, coffee is going to be more expensive. Roses and flowers, because we get a lot of those from Colombia, they're going to be more expensive. Call me crazy, but maybe I'll spend a little bit more for roses or coffee if I don't have, let's say, illegal people in my country. Instead of a I don't know how much a dozen roses cost, but let's say $70. Should I pay 80? Okay. Sign me up for that deal every single day and twice on Sunday. I'll do it, no problem. So the president of Colombia says, hey, we're not doing it, man. We're not taking these people back, even though they're literally Colombians. El Trumpo says, okay, you've got 1 week at 25% tariffs. At the end of the first week, if you don't take them back, it's going to go to 50% tariffs. Okay. Within, was it 8 minutes? I believe it was 8 minutes. You might want to check me on this, Jenna. Within 8 minutes, the president said, we'll take them back immediately. And you know what? I'm going to send my personal plane to go get more. He literally sent his personal plane to get more. So not only we backed down, and then the White House put out a statement saying, hey, Pete, basically he backed down 100%. They were a little bit more couth than that. The president of Colombia retweeted it, basically saying how he got slapped around by El Trumpo. Now, here's the best part, because all of that is fantastic. But the best part about the whole thing is Trump was golfing. He was literally golfing, and he's tweeting out this stuff, and then he puts it on True Social, which is just another social media thing. Picture of him dressed up as like a mobster with FAFO, F around and find out. He literally posts this while he's golfing. Now, did he have someone with him with the golf cart that was probably doing all this for him? Probably. But the fact of the matter is that you talk about double tasking. I can barely remember where my clubs are, and this guy's dropping bombs, figuratively, on other countries and getting them to take back their citizens, which is insane to me that you wouldn't want to take back your own citizens. So if your citizens are so bad, why should we have to take them? Because even the president of Haiti said, if we have to take back our citizens that are in America right now, it's going to cripple our economy. What? Shouldn't it help your economy unless you're just throwing us the worst people possible, which everyone said they were? So, yeah, this is an absolute no-brainer. I don't even understand what's happening. Jenna says he actually uses his power for the good of the country, United States, and I cannot say the same for your country, Canada. Well, Jenna, you got to get that Pierre Polvadere, whatever his name is, and that guy rocks. I love that guy. And so the biggest two issues that I'm seeing this past 8 days, mind you, it's been 8 days of El Trumpo's reign, so to speak, is that everyone's complaining about the price of eggs, because I guess that's a big thing, because eggs are supposed to go down within 1 second after 4 years of inflation. So, and then everyone's talking about the water, because remember there was this big fires out in, where was it? Pacific Palisades that is like $250 billion worth of damage. And El Trumpo keeps talking about, hey, you got to let the water flow, man. You're pushing it out to the Pacific Ocean because you want to save a smelt. And everyone's saying, there's no magic valve. There's no magic valve. And why hasn't the eggs gone down? Why hasn't the eggs gone down? Well, let's do the egg video first, Jenna, because this was on the press secretary today. Someone in the mainstream media asked her, why have the eggs not gone down? What about the eggs? What about the eggs? What about the eggs? And mind you, this press secretary is 27 years old. She's a toddler. Okay, she's a child. And listen to her answer about how she goes at. This is about a 1.5-minute clip. Go ahead, Jenna, with the egg video.
Thanks, Caroline. Just real quick. You mentioned the inflation executive order the president signed, but egg prices have skyrocketed since President Trump took office. So what specifically is he doing to lower those costs for Americans?
Really glad you brought this up, because there is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration in the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage. So I will leave you with this point. This is an example of why it's so incredibly important that the Senate moves swiftly to confirm all of President Trump's nominees, including his nominee for the United States Department of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, who is already speaking with Kevin Hassett, who's leading the economic team here at the White House, on how we can address the egg shortage in this country. As for costs, I laid out a plethora of ways that President Trump has addressed saving costs for the American people over the past week. He looks forward to continuing to doing that in the days ahead. Thank you guys so much.
One more border
Are
question.
Medicaid portals down in all 50 states?
So I'm not a farmer, but I know that eggs come from chickens. And if you kill 100 million chickens, I'm assuming that's going to affect the eggs. Now, Trumpo did not do that. Joey B did that. And plus, didn't Michigan have just passed a law, Jenny? You might want to fact check me on this one, where about like you have to have free range chickens, which I don't understand. They can't be in cages or something. If a chicken's just dropping eggs, I don't know if there's a big difference. That's beyond me. And then the whole water issue, because everyone's saying, oh, there's no big spigot that goes down, blah, blah, blah. I found this video today. Jenna, do you have that water video? This is about another 90-second video. This guy explains it pretty damn well.
The journalists and the Democrats from President Trump has been talking about the water situation here in California, and he talks about a giant spigot that you can turn to send more water from the north to the south, and they say, what's he talking about? He doesn't understand. There's no giant spigot. Well, there is actually, and I'm standing right in front of it. There it is, over my shoulder. It's called the C.W. Bill Jones Pumping Station, federally owned. Let's give it a simpler name. That is the Trump pump. And when he was president the first time around, President Trump ordered more water to be pumped from this pumping station, which has 6 giant pumps that lift up water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta and sends it south in the Delta-Mendota Canal. And President Trump ordered more water to be pumped here and sent south. So just up that road where I was at the Trump pump, you come to this. It's the entrance to the Harvey O. Banks Delta Pumping Plant, which is part of the state water project. You can think of this as Gavin's pump. This sends water into the California aqueduct, which is the state-owned part of the system. And guess what happened the last time when President Trump said more water should be sent in the federal system? California said less water should be sent into the California aqueduct through these pumps here. They retaliated by restricting the amount of water. Unbelievable. Why do they do that? Exactly as President Trump's been saying, to protect fish. Well, let's hope this time they have more common sense. And when President Trump orders more water to be sent through the federal Delta-Mendota Canal, the jokers in charge of California don't send less water through the Gavin pump here at the Banks pumping station.
There you go. Very easy. So there kind of is. Not a moment. Trump is not charging us for the air crossing the border yet for us. It will be coming. I'm sure we have to pay carbon tax up here for the air that we breathe. Yeah, you like I said, you guys need to get that Pierre Paul, whatever his name is. I love that dude. He's fantastic. All right, Jenna, let's move on. That was great. There are winners and losers in life. Jenna, bring on my main man, Chalice Jr.
Yeah.
Chalice Jr. wearing the Detroit Lions, just in honor of them.
Yeah, I root for them. My mom always liked them, so.
Okay, so the Super Bowl. Are you excited about this matchup? For those that don't know, if they've been in a coma, it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs again versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm pulling for the Eagles because I like their long snapper. Rick Lovato is one of mine. He's a great guy. But I'm also pulling for the Chiefs because I know Jaden Hicks, their safety, and he's a phenomenal kid. He's not a kid. He's 22, whatever. Who do you got? What do you think of this matchup?
I think we've talked extensively. You know how I feel about one of these teams. I think that from pure football, completely unbiased, I don't see how anyone in their right mind could bet against Mahomes. You know, how could 17-3 in his career in the playoffs, has second most wins all time of any quarterback in the playoffs, and he's not even 30. Only quarterback with more wins is Tom Brady. So I just don't see how you could go against the Chiefs in this one. The only 2 quarterbacks to ever beat him in a playoff game are Tom Brady did it twice, once with the Patriots, once with the Bucks, and Joe Burrow did it once. No other quarterbacks ever beaten Patrick Mahomes head-to-head in a playoff game. So until proven otherwise, I'm not going to go against the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes.
And which is weird because you're an adamant anti-Philly fan and you live in Philly.
Yes. Very, very adamant. Very adamant about it. If you had to be around these people the way that I have to be around these people, you would want nothing but 0-17 seasons for that franchise. It was horrible, not to take away from the football, but the celebrations, there were so many people arrested, so many people hurt, someone shooting a gun off in the air at the celebration, an 18-year-old kid climbing a pole to try and rip a banner down, fell from the top of the pole and is on life support right now with brain damage because he landed right on his head. Just complete idiocy every time that scumbag franchise has any ounce of success.
So I should have had AC on because he's an adamant Philly supporter. So, but you're adamantly against them, which is okay. You have the right to.
Yeah.
I have to ask the obvious. And Jenna's going to pull up some pictures. I was texting you and several people throughout the game. When anyone says it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes, how many people do you think in their mind say slash the refs?
I think that narrative, and you know how I feel about this too, that narrative to me, the narrative that's applied to the Kansas City Chiefs and the refs is what should be applied to that team from Philadelphia that I won't speak their name. They get so many calls and no calls. We saw twice. They've been in 3 playoff games this year. Twice in 3 games, they were given possession of a ball on a fumble that the other team recovered. We saw it against Green Bay on the first play of the game where you could see the Packers player holding the ball like it was a newborn child and they were trying to rip it away from him. And they said, no, it's Eagles ball. And then we saw on Sunday when the Commanders were down by 11, driving into Eagles territory in great rhythm, there was a fumble and there was a big scrum of bodies. A big fatso from the Eagles dove on top of it. Now, you know, in football, if you just dive on top of the ball, good chance it's going to squirt somewhere.
Yeah.
We have no idea where it went. All we know is that about 15 seconds later, a Commanders player came out, stood up holding the football, and handed it to the refs, and the ref took the ball and pointed for the Eagles. The Eagles went down, got a touchdown, and it never got closer than that. The amount of anyone who's going to apply, if you're going to apply, the refs with the Chiefs, you need to apply it double when it comes to that team from Philadelphia.
Okay, so now this brings up 2 points. I think this game is going to come down, if you're saying it's refs are on both sides, it's going to come down to like a fluke play where it's going to be like, a bad kick, a bad snap, something that can't be, quote unquote choreographed. Mm-hmm. That's number one. And number two, how is it that the NFL does not have the technology of, let's say, Wimbledon, where in NFL they have the ball rotation, like there's a microchip in the damn ball, so they know whatever it's the Google or Amazon, whatever, it's got the rotation.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Do it, but why, Jenna? Just pick one of these pictures, Jenna. I've got 4 pictures to look at, Charles. Let's just pick one. Okay, so this was the 3rd down. Okay, 3rd down. You can see the line. He's clearly, you can't really see the ball. Well, you can see the ball. That's close enough. And he was diving. It wasn't like he was sliding with his knee down on the ground. So that's one. Jenna, play another one. This one was the 4th down. You and I argued about this one because you can't see it, and you're saying, well, God knows where the ball is. But to me, this is a case in point where how do you not, if there's a microchip in the ball, how can they not just microchip the whole field like they do it in Wimbledon? Well, I just don't understand. Like, what are we missing here?
I agree with you. I think that play, that 3rd down and that 4th down were both so close that no matter what the decision was on the field, it was going to be impossible to overturn.
Yeah.
Because that's, the burden of proof then goes upon clear and decisive evidence to overturn what's decided on the field.
Okay.
But what I will say is they do have the technology where you could make it. So if they would have called it the other way on the field, if they would have said Josh Allen was there, there's no world where they would have been able to say on replay, no, he wasn't. But they also already have the technology where we can take the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder, what is making it as such that we don't take the guesswork out of it? If not something nefarious going on behind the scenes where there's a certain agenda and there are certain teams that they want to push more than others.
And that becomes the point where the whole issue with, is it a catch? Is it not a catch? Jenna, do picture 3 for me. Well, no, this one's just a blatant. I mean, this guy's basically raping him. I mean, it's and the ref is right there. I mean, this one, how do you not call that? And that's the right tackle. I was texting you. That guy leans back and gets a head start literally every single play. Unless he's a wizard and he knows exactly what's happening, but he has no eyesight of the ball and he's going off a cadence, but he's leaning back. You can pull up any play. I sent you like 5 of them.
Yeah.
And then Jenna, show me the other one where it's a catch / it's not a catch, where it's a catch, but it's not a catch. One more. Is there one more, Jenna? There should be one more where was the interception / it wasn't an interception, where the ball hits there, this one, where the ball is clearly on hitting the ground. Because, I mean, this goes back to the age-old question of what's a catch and who had the ball.
They say the reasoning behind this one, the hold that you showed is a missed hold. Juwan Taylor's just notorious for false starting. I will say at the end of the first half, the left tackle on Buffalo jumped early like Juwan Taylor does, and Josh Allen threw a touchdown on that play. So like they could have threw a flag there as well, and they didn't. But when it comes to this, they want to leave everything to be so up for interpretation. It's infuriating because it's up for the interpretation that the ball's allowed to touch the ground so long as the ground doesn't help the receiver possess the ball as it's on the ground. But then that leaves more room for subjectivity in that what you deem helping him possess the ball, I might not deem helping him possess the ball, where we could just make it really easy and say, if the ball touches the ground prior to the guy actually having firm control of it with 2 hands and doing something with it, that's on the ground. It's not a catch. Because that's like a third party. Like it acts as a third party to help you possess the ball.
Well, 100%. And then, I mean, are you going to start analyzing okay, my hands are huge. I've got long fingers, so I can hold the ball better than someone with short fingers? I mean, this is so dumb. Like, these are things that are so dumb to me that I just don't understand how they're not fixed. Like, put lasers on the ball or whatever like that with the lines. I mean, but no, we have 55-year-old guys that are chubby holding literally chains. I mean, this is going back to like Newt Rockney days. Like they haven't advanced the technology where they're still using chains, like Viking chains on a boat. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. That, number one, the onside rule needs to be switched. That is absolutely terrible. So dumb. And then number 3, the kickoff rule is dumb. Okay. It's ugly to watch, and these are top tier athletes. I've talked to AC on this several times, where they don't need 60 yards to get a full speed. You give a top tier athlete 6 yards, he's at max speed. And so I don't understand. Before I let you go, is there any other rules that you would like to see adjusted?
No, I mean, not off the top of my head that I can think of. I would love, but they did it already, where there was a year where they let you challenge pass interference calls, but then they just never overturned it, so they did away with it. I would love to have your regular challenges that you get for fumbles, for, was he in, was he out, was it a catch, was it not a catch? But I would love a separate set of challenges where you get one a game where you can challenge a penalty.
Oh, I
where
like
you
that.
can challenge like that picture you showed, where clearly the guy draped around the neck of the Bills defensive lineman. You'd be able to challenge that and say that's clearly holding. It needs to come back.
Yeah.
Earlier on Sunday in the NFC Championship, when that team from Philly had 4th down and 5, they were up 14-12 with 2 minutes left in the first half. They had 4th and 5 from midfield. They elected to go for it. The Commanders brought a blitz. The running back did a horrible job picking up the blitz. So as the linebacker's running by, he just hugs them. Just literally just bear hugs them. That gives the quarterback time to get the throw off, and it's a completed pass. When if you call that penalty, if you're able to challenge that and say, no, he held, now it's 4th and 15. They're no longer going for it. They're punting the ball, and it's 14-12 with 2 minutes left, Washington ball, rather than 20-12, Philadelphia kicking off. So it's just things that change the game.
Yeah, it's 100% a big swing. Chalice, everyone can watch you at Gridirons to Goalposts on YouTube.
Yep, on YouTube, Gridiron to Goalposts.
What's the spread for the Super Bowl? And you're obviously taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs are -1.5 right now. I'm just taking them on the money line. I'm not going to take the -1.5. It's because when it's -1.5, you're not really gaining that much value on taking the -1.5 versus just taking them to win the game. So, yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs to win that game. And it's not even to be a hater because, like you said, a game like this usually comes down to one play here, one play there. The Chiefs are head and shoulders better at kicker. The Eagles' kicker has one of the worst connection rates from 50-plus yards in all of football. The Chiefs have Harrison Butker. He's one of the best in the league. And then when it comes to head coach, it's not even a contest. Andy Reid is head and shoulders above Nick Sirianni. And then when it comes to quarterback, you think about the last time that these two teams played in the Super Bowl. It was a 38-35 win for Kansas City. Jalen Hurts on a running play tried to do a juke move, hit his knee, hit the ball out of his own hand, scoop and score. There's 7 points right there that the Chiefs defense put up. That's the difference in the game right there. You know, it's a 38-35 final score, but the Eagles defense only gave up 31. You know, the Chiefs, defense scored.
You were very close with the Notre Dame Ohio State prediction. You were you had the right team. So what's the final score of the Super Bowl?
Chiefs 27, Eagles/refs 24.
Everyone go check out Gridirons and Goalposts with Chalice. Chalice, thanks for coming on, my man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Jenna, let's move on. This one's going to be quick. Accept and embrace. Okay, so as everyone knows, I live up in Idaho. They say mid to northern Idaho. I'm actually closer to Jenna in Canada and Guy up in Canada than I am to Boise, down 5 hours south of me. I'm like 3.5 hours from Canada. And in case you haven't noticed, Idaho is kind of like the 1800s. It's very odd. And there was two stories that came out in our local paper today, or not, this past week, that I wanted to talk about. Number one, Idaho is bringing back, or trying to bring back, I think it's going to pass, the firing squad for executions. Because last February, some old dude got sent to the death penalty. They couldn't find a vein. So they kept poking him, and they couldn't find a vein. So the dude is still living right now. So they are going to start up the firing squad. 10 guys, everyone has a gun. 11 guys get a blank. One guy gets the real bullet. Boom. Mark my words, if this goes through, I would be willing to bet there's a mile-long line of people in Idaho trying to volunteer to do this because they just don't care. So that's number one. And the reason why they just made the agency revised its execution protocols late last year to use a catheter for central line during a lethal injection. Ow. Rather than just a peripheral IV line, and also spent $314,000 in taxpayer money to design and build a new quote-unquote execution preparation room where prison officials make that call. Ooh. Okay, so a bullet's what, $1? So that would save a lot of money. So we'll see if that's going to happen. The next, Jenna says, just shoot them. Jesus, Jenna, that's aggressive. Number two, Idaho is banning mask mandates. So you know how during the Rona and everything was going crazy and you had to wear a mask and all that? And I was never really into it. And I apologize, YouTube, so don't ban me right now for it. Because where I lived, there was never a mask mandate. They tried in the city to do one, and it lasted about 37 minutes because all the cops said, we're not enforcing this at all. Not one bit, at all. And I was never into it at all because my doctor flat out said, because I was, okay, do I have to clean my whole entire house? What's going on here? Sanitize, wear a mask? He goes, no, man, the COVID virus is smaller than the holes in the mask. And if you even look at the mask, it just says, does not stop the Rona, blah, 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 blah. And he said, basically it'd be like if you were at a backstop of a baseball field and someone threw dirt at you, okay, would the dirt go through the chain link? Well, yeah. And he says, well, that's the exact same thing. So good for you, Idaho. And the last story I wanted to talk about, this just happened a couple of weeks ago, but it's just coming to light today, and I had to get it on here. Detroit female rapper Dank DeMoss, I think that's her name. She's in Detroit, obviously, and she's going to go watch a Detroit Lions playoff party. So this happened 2 weeks ago, and she orders a Lyft. Lyft is like an Uber, like, you know, you basically, hey, come get me. It's like a taxi. She rolls up to this Lyft, and the Lyft driver says, locks door, says, hey, honey, you're not coming in. And she says, what do you mean I'm not coming in? He goes, you're too big. You're going to break my car. I don't want you sitting in my car. And she says, well, you can't deny me. He goes, I don't think you're going to fit in my car, honey. Okay, you're thinking, Rubio, how big is she? All right. Now, Jenna, do you have a picture of Miss Dank DeMoss? This is a female, by the way. Okay, she's 487 pounds. All right. I'm not 487 pounds. I'm about 6'2", 6'2" and a half. I'm about 230. And I have trouble getting into cars because I'm used to bigger cars out here in Idaho. So when I get into a car, I don't even know how to do it anymore. I think you just kind of crawl on the ground and then kind of slide in. Or how do you get out? You put your hands on the ground, or is there the oh my God handle? So I'm team lift on this guy. There's no way I'm letting her into my car if I'm a lifter because number one, how is she going to get in? And not to be mean, okay, because I've been big. I'm 230 right now. My biggest right out of college, I got to about 375, and that's a large man. Okay, that's a big man. I was wearing 4X. I enjoyed life very, very much. I think my waist was a 48 at that point. But she's literally at 478, 487. That's a quarter ton. Okay, that's, I mean, I'm not being mean. That's literally a quarter ton of a human being. That's some damn good dedication. So, of course, she's suing, and she's saying it's segregation. Segregation of what? Against the produce aisle? I don't understand. And I'm not being mean because she's a big woman, but, like, you got to think for the car. I just don't understand. Like Jenna said earlier, imagine if it's like a Honda Civic or something like that. She's not fit in that thing. And I'm not, I don't know if that's mean. I can't ask Jenna because she's mean. Our next guest is in the back comment and it just made me laugh. All right, so that's that. And I want to move past that immediately. We're going to go right now to working hard. Not about it says, holy cow, now that's big. Yeah, she's a big girl. Working hard is not enough. All right, working hard is not enough. At night, I'm watching TV shows, and there's a couple good shows out there. You know, you got the Yellowstone and the Landman and all those good things. And I'm trying to watch some new ones, and everyone's telling me to watch Lioness, but I haven't started watching that. And I see one pop up on Amazon Prime, and I go, I haven't seen that one in a while. And I put it on, and holy hell, it's as great as I remember. Jenna, do you have the photo for us, please? If you've not seen Little House on the Prairie, you are missing out. Little House on the Prairie, basically set in 1872 through 1894, and it's unbelievable. If you haven't seen the show, number one, boo. Okay, I don't understand what the hell you're doing, unless you're younger. So, Rowan, I don't know if you've seen it. Jenna says she's seen it, and she cussed me out a little bit because she's very angry and Canadian because they don't have any good food. But it's absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. I've cranked through like 23 episodes in the past like 5-6 days because when I'm doing computer work, I can just have it on the background. Number one, it's all about family. It's family first. And when it's not about family, it's about community second, which the community is basically their family. Okay. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. The entire family. Go back to the picture, Jenna. Let me describe every character for those listening on iTunes and Spotify. You've got Pa Ingalls, Charles Ingalls, Michael Landon, R.I.P., an absolute legend of a human being. Then you've got Carolyn Ingalls, the mom, who was, I guess she was one of the best teachers ever in Minnesota, but she decided she's going to become a stay-at-home mom because, well, that's pretty much what you had to do. And then you got Laura Ingalls on the right, who she's got buck teeth, but she's feisty. She beat the hell out of a couple kids already. Then you got Mary Ingalls at the very bottom left. She's like the brain. And I'm not going to spoil it for everything. She has some medical issues at the end. And then I think the very bottom one is Carrie, I think that's her name, the child. I don't know what she does. She's just a toddler. She just kind of falls all over the place, especially the intro. She's kind of irrelevant right now. I think she's like 4 or 5. She just does what a 4 or 5-year-old does. But it got me hooked because I think it was the first or second episode. There was Christmas time, and the kids got a cup, and they were ecstatic. And I was like, this is fantastic. Can you imagine giving your kids a cup and just going, yeah, this is it. This is the best thing ever. And they were excited for it. And it wasn't like, like one of those Stanley cups that all the chicks have now, or like a Yeti cup. It was just a cup. I don't even think it had a handle. And they were pumped to high hell on it. I'm not even going to show you the Olsen family because Nellie Olsen, whatever the daughter, she is the world's worst human being. She's an evil human being. I want to spit on her every single time I see her because she's such an angry little girl and she's 12 and she's just a mean person. I don't even think I think she'd be even too mean for Jenna. But I do want to bring in Edwards. Edwards is Pa Engel's good friend. He starts off as a drunk in the show, but then he becomes just like a stallion. And he's always singing this really stupid song. So I recorded it so you could hear it. And it's absolutely fantastic. I have no idea what the hell it means. I'm assuming he made it when he was hammered. But Jenna, let's play Edwards' video of him singing his little song.
Old Dan Tucker was a fine old man. Washed his face in a frying pan. Combed his hair with a wagon wheel. Died with a toothache in his heel. He loved the way for old Dan Tucker. It's too late to get his supper. Supper's over and dinner's cooking. Old Dan Tucker just stands there looking. Oh!
Fantastic. Who the hell combs their hair with a wagon wheel? How is that even possible? Is old man Tucker a giant? Because a wagon wheel's, I mean, it's huge. Nanamona says, I have all the discs. Rubio, you've never seen this. Where have you been? Great show. No, I saw it before, Nanamona. That's my point. I saw it when I was a kid. I was all about that. Three's Company, Different Strokes. I had to watch MASH at my Aunt Donna's house all the time, which I really didn't like. And then, yeah, I did all those. I mentioned Three's Company, Different Strokes. Yeah. Incredible Hulk was a big one, too. All right. And also the last thing about Little House on the Prairie, the pajamas are super sweet. Oh, yeah, Jenna said Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island was so fantastic, but that's because Marianne was such a smoke show. I thought she was better than Ginger, the redhead, because, well, number one, she's a redhead, and you can never really trust them. But Marianne, she was like the girl next door, farmer next door, whatever. She was so hot. And last thing on Little House, the pajamas for the dudes, super sweet. It's just like a big, long, I guess like a nightgown. It just looks like a size 7X shirt or something like that. Just goes down the ground. Looks very comfy. I don't know what to tell you. All right. We're going to take a real quick break, and then we're going to come back with our final segment of Confidence is the Key. We're going to bring back someone who I think is pretty much a robot / superhuman. Jenna, I'm out.
You have been watching The Rubio Method. Take it away, Rubio.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Whitney, over at One Shot Charlie's. Make sure you check them out. They've got a website. They're on Facebook. You can do gift cards. They are one of the sponsors of the show, and they do a great, great job. I can't wait to get out there in a couple weeks, enjoy some good food and some good people. Welcome back to episode 90 of the Rubio Method. We are live on YouTube, LinkedIn. We'll be on Spotify and iTunes. We're also on Facebook, X, all that good stuff. Don't forget to follow us, subscribe, like, share, send someone, say, hey, man, I can't believe what Rubio's talking about right now. All right. Final segment, confidence is the key. All right, so I talked a couple weeks ago about my buddy / long snapper / guy that I've known for, I think it's about 10 years now, Rowan McCullough. Rowan is someone who I've known, I would say, for a decade, maybe longer, maybe a little bit less. I'm not sure. Time kind of just blends at this point. He'd gone through a horrific accident where he was coming through a tunnel. There's a guy stopped. Boom, he stops. Guy pulling an Ford F-250 carrying a tractor, slams in the back of him. Rowan's hood goes up like this and decides, I'm going to slice his eye in half. And he has to lose the eye. As this is happening, blood everywhere, he decides, I'm going to call 911 and I'm going to call my mom and say, hey, Mom, not doing so well. You might want to throw some extra prayers my way. I text him the next couple days, and the dude is chipper. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, this is not a human being. There's no way. So let's bring on Rowan McCullough. I want to talk to him about the updates on how he's doing.
Hello.
Where are you, Rowan?
I should be in.
Oh, there you are, my man.
What's up?
Well, number one, your hair looks fantastic as always.
So does yours.
I shaved for you today. Nice trim. But
So
your hair is always. What kind of product do you put in your hair?
Hairspray. Yeah. I took a page out of your book. I lined my beard up with conditioner and use conditioner. It's great. It's better than shaving cream.
And it's very, very cheap at Costco. They look at me a little weird for using it, but for you, I'm assuming they would not look weird at it because you have such beautiful flowing hair. Rowan, thanks for coming on, my man. How you feeling?
Hey, if I was any better, I'd be you. I living life. Couldn't be happier. Honestly, I think this is Probably the best thing that has ever happened to me. Second to coming to your camps.
Well, of course.
Of course.
Okay, so you're going to watch this right now and say, dude, he's drunk, or there's no way he can say this. What makes you say that? What makes you say this is the second best thing that's happened to me?
So long story short, I know I talked to you about it. I'm big into my faith.
Okay.
It's pulled me through a lot of this. And, I like to say the greatest form of love is sacrifice. Not to preach on your podcast and take over.
Preach away, Daddy, because I've got like 4 questions about this.
Love it. So greatest form of love is sacrifice, right? Obviously in the Christian faith, that is shown as, Jesus dying on the cross for our sins. With this, I had a lot of seasons in my life that led up to this that just solidified my faith, that I questioned God. And I said, hey, God, why me? Why me? Why me? And the resounding answer to that is, why not me? Right. And so if I didn't have that backbone of my faith, going through this situation would have been incredibly hard. So going back to the sacrifice example, if I have to lose my eye, and in quality of life really hasn't been that bad, adjustments have been coming along pretty easily. But if I have to lose my eye for, probably 75 to 80 conversations now of people either saying, hey, I was either lukewarm in my faith and now I'm on fire for God, or I was vehemently opposed to religion and now I want to have a conversation about it. If I have to lose an eye to even turn one of those people to God or to the faith, I think I'm doing a good job. So I think God's used me well in stewarding this gift well.
So you're basically saying, hey, if God came down and says, hey, Rowan, let me have your right eye, and it'll make people more religious, you'd be like, sign me up, Daddy.
Absolutely. I'd say, hey, you can have my arm next week and my leg the week after. I hope to God not, let's be honest. But if that's what's going to really bring people to the faith, I think that's, what I have to do. And in the background, it's actually funny. So I have my own men's ministry that I run called Better Man. And it talks about, how to be a man according to the Bible and the principles of biblical masculinity and really what it means in a biblical sense. And, I had a group of men that I was ministering to before this that led up to the accident that has really strengthened my faith. And so when this happened, I think it really solidified a lot of their faith and just being able to see them as men step up and put themselves in my shoes and do things for me that could have far superseded my expectations. It's just been a blessing having men like that in my life and just elite level men like that in my life.
Well, and I think that's so important nowadays because I think the past, let's say, decade almost, men have been kind of pushed aside and it's been almost toxic, quote unquote, masculinity. Like, oh, that's a bad thing. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I think it's switching around now to where it's okay to have some dude friends. It's okay to do stupid dude shit together and just be dudes. Yeah, I mean,
so going into that, I think you hit on a great point. I think it's twofold. So from a relational perspective, I think men need other men to go to. Right, especially elite level men, they need other men to go to. Your wife isn't your vessel to go dump everything on and say, "Hey, handle my shit." That's not it. You have to have other men in your life, right? So there's that, number one, and number two, from a culture sense, there is a sense of the third wave feminism, the toxic masculinity, which is utter bullshit, to be honest. Be completely frank with, what is the number one way that Satan's going to try to derail the country? He's going to try to take strong men out of pivotal positions, right? And he's going to attack families, and he's going to tell men, hey, you being a man and putting your foot down and being able to say, hey, I'm a man and here are the things that I stand for. It's just, he's trying to emasculate. Satan's trying to emasculate our country. And I mean, we see that through popular culture nowadays. So I think, just having this men's group, and honestly, this situation has just been a catalyst for everything that we've been preaching in that group.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I love women. I'm married to a woman. I think she's fantastic. My aunts are women, it's one of those things, but you cannot, unless you're in a coma, you have to understand that men are men, women are women, and they're just so different. I mean, and if you think they're the same, because even if you guys have the same exact hobbies, there's still, you're looking at it in a different way. I'm looking at it a different way. I'm reading it some way. I'm talking about it differently. I'm finding certain things humorous where they aren't, where they're finding some things that are humorous that I'm not.
Yep, I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think it goes back to when you're teaching us how to long snap and you say, hey, they're both like a marriage, right? Yeah. You can't have one overpowering the other. I like to say they're equal in worth, different in design.
Ooh, say that again?
Men and women are equal in worth, just different in design.
Ooh, I like that. Jenna, write that down. That's pretty damn good. Equal. You didn't come up with that.
So actually, it's through our group. There's a great resource for everyone listening, and there's a great resource called Better Man. And they teach a lot of this, of how men are taught to be emotional, physical, and spiritual providers, but also emotional, physical, and spiritual protectors. Men are supposed to handle everything outside of the home. Women are supposed to handle everything inside of the home. And there's a little give and take. There's some gray areas within that, but obviously there's roles that men and women are supposed to have.
Okay, so where can people find out about this? Because we'll have Jenna write this up on the screen. Is it just like betterman.com or?
Yeah, it's betterman.com. Betterman.com is the overarching ministry, but okay. you can go in there and have your own small group and really found it there. I tailored my group to just elite level men. I think one thing coming out of college was that identity crisis that not many people talk about, of, I'm a football player until I'm not. And then what am I? And that was something that I struggled with myself, and then really bolstering myself in this group and having this ministry really helped me.
So do people have to do this? Like, because I have a feeling people are going to want to contact you after. They can find you on LinkedIn, Facebook, all that good stuff. But if someone wants to be a part of your Better Man group, can they do it via satellite, or do they have to be in the Ohio region?
No, Ohio is great. We meet in the short north down in Columbus, but people Zoom into group, and I have one of my best friends, I believe, is down in Tennessee, and he Zooms in, video calls in every Monday.
Okay, so let me go, because I got to ask the questions that people want to know.
Yeah,
you're going through the tunnel. All of a sudden, oh my God, there's a car stopped. Your butthole goes like this. You slam on the brake. The car hits. And at this point, is it like slow motion where you see the hood going like this, or does everything boom, 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 boom?
So it was weird, because I'm going to be honest, I'm a fast driver. I'm typically a self-proclaimed distracted driver. In this instance, this is how I know it was God ordained. I wasn't even listening to music, wasn't on my phone, wasn't doing any of that. It just happened. And I remembered I was watching it. I was watching the car in front of me. They swerved out of the way. I smack into the back of this other car. I didn't have time to react. And then all of a sudden, I think the first impact is what brought the hood through and what hit my face. The second impact is what spun me around from the F-350 that hit me from behind. Spun me around, and that's when I was out of breath for a second, and I breathed in, and I was like, damn, I felt like I just got hit by like a Joey Bosa or a Chase Young. And because punt protection, they were just bull rushing. You can't do that. It's a Ferrari on ice, right? Going straight, controlled chaos. And I kick my door open. My door is locked. I kick my door open, get out, and so not to be too graphic.
No, let it rain, Eddie.
All right, let's let it rain. I grabbed my eye, and I was like, why can't I see? And I'm like wiping my eye because I thought there was something in it. And I was like, oh shit, like I think I'm blind. Didn't really register automatically. And then I started grabbing my face, and my hands went in my head. And I was like something inside. It was really weird because I wasn't like super serious. And I was like, oh, that probably shouldn't happen. Yeah. And I bent over at first, and the sound of, when you're in the, maybe not you, but Jenna, when you're in the shower and you're wringing your hair out and the water splashes on the ground, that's when I bent forward and the blood splashed on the ground. And I was like, oh, I'm bleeding pretty bad right now. And I looked at somebody and I said, hey, because this one girl was freaking out. I look at her and I was like, hey, call 911. We're going to Ohio State. Because I knew in my head, my mom would want me to go to Ohio State. There's some pretty sketchy hospitals around here, and I was not one of them. then called my mom. I told somebody to call my mom. And I just remember, I like to say that I acted tough. She said I used my little kid voice, but I was like, hey, mama, I split my face in half. You know, I think I'm dying. I think I'm going to die. Just know that I love you.
Oh,
and then I got off the phone. And then I asked a family if they had diapers, and I grabbed 3 diapers from this family. I felt bad. They were driving a white Kia, and I had blood all over their door, and I felt horrible about it.
who the hell thinks to ask for diapers? Did you see a
I
kid?
saw the kid in the back. There was a kid in the back.
Okay. Jesus, how the hell did you think that fast?
And I was like, hey, do you guys have anything I can cover my face? Do you have diapers? They handed me 3 diapers, and I was waiting, and I was just kind of pacing around because I started to fight like losing blood. And I was holding them on my face, and I was bleeding through them, and I got on my hands and knees. And I remember, because the tunnel kind of slopes down and I was at the bottom of it. And I remember looking up and seeing all of the headlights looking at me. And I remember just getting on my knees, and I just sat and I started praying. And I wasn't praying for God to, pull me through. I wasn't praying for God in any sense. I was just saying, hey, God, thank you for who you are and who you have been to me. If this is my time, take me, and thank you. And I love you. I appreciate everything you've done for my life, but I hope this isn't my time. And if you could put your hand over me in this situation, whatever your will is, I will align with that. And it took me, no, I'm not married, Jenna.
Jenna, Jesus, let him talk. Pick up on him later.
But it took about 13 minutes for the ambulance to come. And I was just kind of waiting there for the ambulance, really fighting. I don't really remember much. But I remember getting in the ambulance, and I just look at the guys and I'm like, hey guys, this is really going to hurt. I have a feeling, and I'm starting to feel it. Could you pump me full of stuff? So they pumped me full of 300 micrograms of fentanyl, which
Jesus,
I didn't know where I was. I didn't feel anything. And then I was just like, hey, would you guys mind sedating me? Because I started kind of feeling anxious, and I was like, would you mind sedating me? And they pumped me full of 100 micrograms of ketamine, which I don't recommend anybody do that recreationally, because that was an awful experience medically. I just didn't know where I was, and I was sitting in the back of the ambulance. And all I remember on that trip was, first off, it took a really long time to get to the hospital, it seemed. And second off, I look back at the EMTs, because they were talking into the dispatcher, whoever, the hospital, and I heard one of them say, hey, our patient is severely critical. He's 50-50. It's not looking great.
Jesus.
So I have tattoos all over me. And I remember I couldn't see my tattoos. There was so much blood. And I turned back when he said, hey, he's 50-50. It's not looking great. And I was like, who? I was like, me? I was like, that's not me. And then I remember they pulled me in, wheeled me into the trauma bay, cut all my clothes off, which, it was just a blessing that there were that many doctors in that room. And then the funniest part, so I don't want to show any graphic pictures I could pull up on my phone, but
I've seen them. I'm still pissed at you, though, on a side note, that you didn't get to keep the eye, because right now, huh?
That's what I said. I was like, what, can I have my eye? And they were like, we're saying it's a pathology. I would have put it on like a necklace or something, would have kept it in the jar.
So are you right now? You're rolling no eye in there. It's just skin. Let it rain.
It's glass.
It's there.
It's a glass former. Yeah, so you can kind of see the bottom of it right there.
Are you going to get like a design or something?
I could. The only thing is they're just so expensive, and I'm just like rocking with this, and that's that. But anyways, let me tell you this. I think you'll find this is funny. So I was in my hospital room, and so my nose, obviously where the scar is, was split open, and I literally had my own like train whistle, and I was sitting there, and I was so out of it from the pain meds that I twisted a napkin up or a tissue up, and I was like, my nose is stuffed up. I need to breathe out of my nose, and I put it in my nose. And I had people in my room, all of my like friends and family that rushed to the hospital to see me, and I put this tissue in my nose, and I was twisting it to try to like clear out my nose, because I couldn't like blow my nose or anything. and it starts coming out and waving at everybody out of the top. But the thing that pissed me off, nobody had the heart to tell me that happened. So here I am making a fool of myself, putting tissues out my nose that are waving to the crowd, and I'm just sitting there like oblivious to everything.
Oh, I would have said, "Hey, Rowan, what's with the 2 party favors right now?"
Yeah.
You know, I would have done that. I would have like, "Hey, man, you got 2 party favors doing little dances. You look like a double unicorn."
Yeah. So that was funny about it. But the amount of support that I've gotten from people showing up, people in the hospital thought I was famous with how many people came and saw me. My dad even looked at me and he was like, "Rowan, with how much of kind of abrasive you are, I'm so surprised with all the support that you've had." And I'm like, "Thanks, Dad. That's really nice to say." I said, "I'm pretty good at relationship building, I think." So it was great. I think I had probably 200 people come and see me. And it was just a blessing. But I mean, the visit limit was like 2 people per room, but they put me at like a back room that no one could see. So luckily my mom worked at the hospital too. So it was, they did some of their own party favors for me.
Well, this is one of the most amazing stories when your dad told me, and then I talked to you the next day and you were just so upbeat. I was like, what the hell? Like I was expecting, okay, Rubio's going to have to come in here and play a counselor and it's okay. You'll be fine. You're not going to make a lot of right turns, but we'll be okay. And you were just like, that's what even AC of AC Sports Live, it comes on 9. He was talking. He's like, dude, that kid is amazing. I'm like, I know it's just so, but I do. I mean, I'm a big believer, like I've obviously said on the beginning of the show, that everything happens for a reason. And yeah, I guess it sucks that you lost your right eye, but like you said, it affected so many people in a positive way that it's hard not to look at this and say, there's got to be something else out there, because holy hell.
Yeah, and it's been a long time coming. My whole testimony has been strengthened from it, and we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. So happy to connect with anybody who's watching it to go over that. I mean, it's been a blessing. But I mean, the only hard part about all of this, aside from the emotional part, because we're still working through all of that. I just lost an eye. Is my depth perception. Like things are always either further or less than what I think they are. So when I think back in the context of my career with you, Rubio, I think of Jake Olson from USC, blind long snapper. How the hell did he do that?
Well, it was probably easier because he had no sight, so there was no. I mean, you don't know depth perception because we had Jake Munoz, also Aaron Golub. I had basically 3, and I think with probably 0 eyes, it'd probably be almost easier because there's nothing playing with your mind doing this.
Listen, I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't know, but I got a lot of respect for those guys. I mean, much, much better long snappers than I could be with.
Well, and Rowan, I think everyone watching or going to listen to this has a lot of respect for you. We really appreciate you coming on. Keep up the good fight. And we'll obviously, I'm going to probably have you on every couple of months just because you energize me and you make me feel good, which that's a little bit selfish, but I don't give a shit. So
hey, I'm here for it. I really appreciate you, Rubio. I appreciate everything that you've done.
Not a problem. So people can check you out on LinkedIn, Facebook, and then betterman.com. And they just have to search like Ohio or...
you can just do betterman.com. Betterman.com is the overarching ministry that I pull our ministry from. So they can start their own groups there. But if they want to connect with me, they're welcome to shoot me a text. If you guys want to put my number in the chat, or if I can just say it, 614-917-3770. Again, that's 614-917-3770. If you guys want to shoot me a text, happy to connect with you guys, throw you in my Better Man group. Or if you just want to chit chat, I'm happy to talk my testimony, talk, how Rubio has helped me throughout my entire life and helped me and my family. So Rubio, for your information, Liam just bought a very, very nice house down in Georgia.
I know. I saw pictures of it. We talked about decorating. We talked about how he's going to have to pay for movers because he refused to do that because he's making a little coin now. I sat with your brother for like 48 hours. We had some wild conversations. That's all I'm going to say. Liam is his older brother. He's married, Jenna. Okay. Rowan is single. Rowan, are you single right now?
No, I'm not.
You're okay. Jenna, I apologize. Okay. Too bad. Rowan, thank you very much. Jenna, I'm going to go to the last segment right now. Rowan McCullough, everyone. Thank you very much, Rowan. All right. That was amazing. Holy hell, is that kid an inspiration? He's not a kid, but he's wow. I mean, good Lord, no pun intended. That was amazing. All right, so let's move on to the last segment. The very last segment is the bottom line. The bottom line is all the stuff you should have learned while watching and listening without even realizing you learned it. Number one, if something is wrong, it is simply wrong. Okay, this goes back to the whole breaking the law, the illegal immigrants. It's one of those things. It's a crime. You broke the law. It's wrong. It's very simple. Number two, going back can make us move forward. This has to go back with Little House on the Prairie. Going back and watching the show and seeing how life was back in the 1870s, 1880s, 1890s, it also brings you back to like, hey, why can't we have a little bit of that nowadays? You know, think about it. Number three, maybe people are superhuman. Maybe some people are simply superhuman, or is just their whole faith-based thing really, really working out for him. Rowan is either a robot or his faith really, really did help him out in this one. And obviously, you know the answer to that one if you just listen to the past 15 minutes. I want to thank Chalice. I want to thank Rowan. I obviously want to thank Jenna for holding it all together in the back end. You guys were a great, great audience. Appreciate everyone chiming in. Don't forget, right after this at 6:30, so about 15 minutes, we've got Decades coming on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And don't forget, at 9 o'clock, you've got AC Sports Live. And then 9:30, you've got The Ride with Chevy and Nasty. Both are great, great shows. I highly recommend them. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. On that note, this is episode 90. I'm Chris Rubio of The Rubio Method. Jenna, I'm out.
Thanks for watching The Rubio Method. Be sure to spread the word. And don't forget to subscribe, like, or follow on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook.